What's good, you guys? It is Will here from PSYCHONAUT Visions, signing in once again, coming at you with another video today. Now, staying on the topic of or I would say the theme of some of my most recent videos, I'm going to talk a little bit about duality, but it's more so about a branch of this theme, and that is kind of masculine versus feminine energy. Now, I think that one of the comparisons that I like to make when thinking about men and women is men are like dogs and women are like cats. Now, what I mean by that is, when you think about a dog, you really think about something that wants to be loved. You know, it's all over you, right? Like it just wants to be petted, it wants to be loved, it wants attention, and you know, dogs seem pretty easy to read. Like, we know oftentimes what they want. And I think that's the thing about it, right? It's like kind of like how men are when it comes to relationships and stuff like that, right? Like men just want to be loved. They're simple, right? Men are very simple. And cats, the reason why I compare women to cats is because, you know, for example, right? Like one time I was at a friend's house and he had a cat, and it was just kind of sitting there right next to me, looking up at me like, you know, pet me, right? I want to be petted. And I go to pet it and it runs off like into another room and stares at me from a distance. You know, and cats, they're a lot more mysterious. They seem to test you. They seem to try and lure you in. And I took the bait in this instance, right? But that's the thing about women. It's like they'll show you these signs that, oh, I'm interested. Like, yeah, you know, like and as a man, it's hard to just ignore that. It's hard to understand that all they're trying to do is test you, right? It's hard to understand that it's really a game. And so it's easy as a man to just take the bait, and then the next thing you know, a woman will start distancing themselves from you or cut ties altogether, you know? And that's sort of the harsh reality of the game of love, something that a lot of men, I think it's everyone really has to experience at some point or another, is rejection. And this comparison that I make, I like to hear your guys' take on it, because it's something that I've kind of looked into a little bit. I saw some video. I'm not on TikTok very much, but I saw a TikTok of this guy kind of comparing men and women to dogs, but it really made me think more about it and kind of come up with my own take on it. So I'd like to know your guys' thoughts on that. But it kind of just goes to show, one thing that I kind of had to learn as a boy, growing up as like a teenage kid, when you start feeling, you know, more like real feelings towards girls, you know, it's that they don't really love you. And I wouldn't say I learned this back then. I'd say it's more so as I've gotten older. But you know, men and women love each other for different reasons, you know. So it's like, when I used to always think that the reasons that I would be into a girl are the same reasons that they would be into me. So I'm attracted to them for, you know, to a girl for the way she looks, so she'll be into me for the same reasons, I used to think. But in reality, man, it's much more complicated than that. And I can't speak from the perspective of a woman, but it just seems like they care a lot more about what you're bringing to the table in terms of, you know, your aspirations, your confidence, your charisma, like who you are as a person. And you know how men are, like they're a lot more, I would say, lustful, just seeking sort of instant gratification in a way. Like they'll see an attractive woman and instantly their attention is grabbed. Immediately they're, you know, they're willing to participate in the game, right? But for women, it's a lot different. It's a lot different. And it's that duality of like, men and women are not the same. Like, let's face it, they're two completely different. I mean, we're human beings, we're all human beings, but we both value different things and both seek different things in one another. And I think that's why it's important that we all get that sense of rejection at some point or another in life, as not only is it humbling, but it goes to show you that, okay, like, you can't expect these people to love you for the same reasons that you love them. And I've kind of had trouble with females in the past. You know, I haven't really had a friend or a girl that I can genuinely talk to since high school. I'm like 4 years removed from high school now, but it's interesting because even when I did, I would always take that bait that I was talking about, and then they would either cut ties with me in due time or completely friend zone me, and it's tough. But I've never fully had a real sense of how to talk to women. I've never, I'd be lying if I said I carried much confidence when it comes to speaking to them. But at the same time, I think, how do you, for lack of a better term, outwit the cat? Like, how do you, like, play the game and play your cards right as a man specifically? I think the best thing is to not chase it, right? It's there. Like, for the example I gave with the cat, it's right there. It wants to be pet. I mean, it's showing me, it's giving me the intention that, or the impression that, oh, I want to be pet. So, okay, you know, what do? As weird as it is, I don't pet the cat, right? I let it sit there and seek that attention, because as weird as it is, it seems like that's how women are sometimes, right? Like, the men that don't necessarily give them all that attention right away and are the ones that they seem to favor a little bit more. And I think that the reason for that, and obviously there's absolutely nothing wrong with that, right? Like, I'm fully accepting and appreciative of female nature, because it's those opposites, right? Those men and women, that duality. But I think that's the thing, right? Women want a man who's more focused on himself, who's more centered on his goals and his aspirations and what he's doing. And I think that's the one thing that I'm really learning, is that for a while I've desired a little bit more of that feminine energy into my life, but at the same time, I can't just go out there and chase it. You know, like, I'm not going to do that. I'm going to try and really focus on me, focus on myself, what I'm doing in my life. And whatever happens, right? Like, I can find a way to manifest that into my life, but I'm not going to go out there and just try and force it. But I'm going to let it come to me. And that's just the thing, right? That's the thing about this game of love. That's or even just game of men and women, like these two opposites that are trying to come together and really connect, really share a bond. That's very intriguing. Like, I mentioned duality. I think that's really like the theme of duality that's been in my life for so long. I started out with light and dark, you know, and then went into ups and downs, yin and yang, black, white. And then now it's kind of like thinking about masculine and feminine energy, how it's like these opposites are the reason the other even thrives in the first place. And it brings to light the example of superheroes, right? Like, SpiderMan just came out, you know, like, what would Spider-Man be if the Green Goblin, if Doc Ock weren't there? Think about Batman. What would Batman be without the Joker? Like, if Spider-Man didn't have villains in these movies or in these comics, what would be the draw that he's able to fling webs from his wrist? Like, he wouldn't be a hero if there was no such thing as a villain. And I think that's the thing, right? Like the ups, the positives, the pros that come along with life, the positive aspects of oneself are there strictly because opposition. You know, like, light is light because of darkness. And I've said this, I've worded it in different ways, but it's truly eye-opening when you really take it into consideration, and it goes for like anything in life. And that's essentially how I've come to appreciate the downtimes in life. You know, that's how I've come to appreciate the stressful moments. And although they can be difficult, and although I'm not going to sit up here and act like it's fun to go through a dark time in one's life, it's truly what makes you. It's truly what allows those positive times to be positive in the first place. Because if it weren't for the negative, what would you define as positive? Like, I know I've talked about this, but it's something that really goes hand in hand with anything, particularly with psychedelics as well. You know, that's how the theme of ups and downs came about, because throughout my most intense trip of 8 grams, you experience those highs of transcendence, of euphoria, and then you experience the lows of darkness and fear, and just it's bad, it's horrifying, like it's terrible, but at the same time, I believe it's inherently necessary to experience that. And as someone who has done psychedelics at least somewhat avidly, at least someone who considers himself a psychonaut, like this channel is called Psychonaut Visions, I think it's essential to experience that side of the mushroom, of acid. You know, if you experience such a high level of potency of you know, self-acceptance, transcendence, whatever you want to call it, then I think it's only right that you experience the opposite of that. You know, and that's the one thing that I'm coming to, I don't want to say believe and say that I'm fixated on, but that I've really been taking more into consideration is yin and yang. That's kind of what I see as, I don't know if you want to call it truth, but just this balance of opposition. That's key, and right, that's like the masculine and feminine thing that I was talking about, and how, you know, of course, one gender, one energy isn't gonna match the opposition, right? Like male and female, of course we're gonna be different. Of course we're gonna experience different things, and we're not gonna be the same. But it's all about like accepting that and embracing the game of figuring out like who. It's hard to really put it into words, but how to play the game and how to actually play your cards right, specifically as a man, you know, and as a woman, like, again, I'm not going to speak from the standpoint of one because I'm not a woman, but it's so fascinating to think about. And I just, it seems like every video I keep bringing the theme of duality up in a different way, but it's just, it's once it hits you, man, it's almost like an awakening of sorts. So don't be surprised if I continue to touch on this topic in different ways. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed. Like I said, feel free to leave a like, comment, like, please let me know what your guys' thoughts and your take on anything of duality, of the game of love, whatever. I'd love to hear it. So yeah, feel free to subscribe as well. And thank you guys for watching. I hope you enjoyed. So Will from Psychonaut Visions signing out.